Euromaxx highlights. And here's your host, Karin Helmstedt.
Greetings from Berlin and welcome to our highlights edition, shaping up this time around with the following top stories. Pedal power. Fat biking in the snow is an exciting winter sport. Online sensation. A commercial for a Danish TV station goes viral. And prime location, we visit a cozy apartment in downtown Stockholm. And we'll start off in the mountains of Switzerland, a skiing and snowboarding paradise to say the least. But the past few years have seen another fun sport gain in popularity there, and that is fat biking. Now, it's not to everyone's taste, of course, as the bikers have to share sometimes very narrow trails with hikers. But if you're into it, this is what it can be like in the hills around Gstaad.
It's hard to believe the rest of Europe only seemed to discover the beauty of the Alps' snow-covered peaks, valleys and forests a century ago. Now, almost everyone who travels the region knows Gstaad and its chalets as a winter paradise. The Gstaad Palace is a crown jewel among Switzerland's high-class hotels and a landmark in the region.
We come here for 45, 50 years.
Yes?
Yes, it's a nice place. We love it.
The blend of alpine tradition and modern luxury has made Saanenland one of Switzerland's best-known winter holiday spots. The region covers Gstaad and 9 other villages.
In Gstaad,
you can do something different every day. What's unique is the genuine alpine surroundings. You're really up in the mountains.
Selin Gempeler has opted for a guided tour on winter bikes.
Celine, to get a little more traction, we'll let some air out. This way the tires can adapt better to the terrain.
Fat bikes are essentially mountain bikes with outsized tires, which function much like snowshoes. The bikes are now available all around the Gstaad area. Every January, fat bike fans descend on Gstaad. Fat bikes were invented in the United States to take on sand, gravel or snow. During Gstaad's Snow Bike Festival, the riders even race them through cowsheds. But riding fat bikes can be just as much fun for holiday cyclists. They're allowed on most of the winter hiking trails, but hikers always have the right of way. These two riders have packed a special treat for their outing.
This is our fondue backpack. It's nice and comfortable in its tote bag. Here you have everything you need for a tasty outdoor fondue at any time of year, even in winter.
The quintessentially Swiss culinary experience with a pot of melted cheese tastes even better in the rustic alpine countryside. In the Gstaad region, vacationers can also learn about local traditions, like paper cuttings. Practiced since the 19th century, the delicate paper images depict local, hometown subjects.
Very popular subjects include the chalets you see all around the area, or the natural surroundings, and of course now you find modern paper cuttings as well.
Regina Martin has also devoted a cutting to the downhill bikers, even though winter biking only got started a few years ago. But its popularity continues to grow.
There are lots of people in the world who can ride bikes, but don't know how to ski. So now they can come here to Gstaad and go fat biking. They have a great experience in the snow, get physically active, and earn themselves a hearty supper in the evening.
But our two riders still have some pedaling to do to earn their supper.
It's a cool experience. This is the first time I've done it. and it's different from summer. You have to get used to it, but it's really a lot of fun.
After dark, it's time for après-ski or après-bike. The riders park their bikes. The extra treaded wheels aren't allowed on the ski slopes. The panoramic view of the sunset from the Kuhstall Alpine Bar is breathtaking.
Maarten Baas is one of the most influential designers currently working in Europe. So influential, in fact, that he's now the subject of a solo exhibition in Groningen in the Netherlands. And that's quite an achievement at just age 39. And yet, the Dutch native has been known to torch his own work, which perhaps sounds kind of radical, but Maarten Baas always has his reasons.
At first glance, this looks like charred wood. At second glance, it's a scorched design classic. The fantastic furniture of Maarten Baas. Hide and Seek, the first major solo exhibition of his works, is now on at the Groningen Museum in the Netherlands.
The best thing that can happen is that you cannot describe what it is. You feel that you're in the next level of energy. I feel like an alchemist, actually, with playing with a lot of, how do you say it? A lot of liquids and things to have a certain result. And you don't know how it works, but it works.
Maarten Baas loves to play with fire. An old piano, as well as famous designs like Ettore Sozza's Carlton room divider, all went up in smoke. Is it art or furniture design?
It's all of that, and that is, I think, the most special thing about it. It is everything in one piece, so you can use it, but at the same time, there's all these concepts behind it, and another time you can almost feel it when you sit on it, or you can even smell it, so you experience it also on a different level.
Baas created Smoke 15 years ago as his graduation collection while studying at the Design Academy Eindhoven. It earned him international recognition. Numerous museums have acquired his designs, including the Victoria and Albert in London and the MoMA in New York. He destroys things to make something new.
We put a lot of attention in making the piece. It really takes hours to make it, or sometimes even days to make it, to restore it perfectly and really to make it a complete piece again. So there's a lot of respect involved in it as well, and it sounds as a paradox, but burning for me is not necessarily something negative at all.
For his series Clay, Maarten Baas formed pieces out of industrial clay and finished them in bright colors. He likes to create things spontaneously and by hand, so he didn't use molds. That means each of the designs is unique and costs up to 8,000 euros a piece.
Things should kind of grow almost naturally, like they are not, there are no brains involved or so. It really like nature grows, or a plant grows to the light. And if furniture could grow like that as well, then I think it would reach much more the kind of perfection which you see in nature as well. It's kind of finding a balance between this human input and this natural kind of input.
Growth is a recurring theme in Maarten Baas's work. As part of his latest project, he wants to plant a forest. The word new should be fully visible in the forest by the fall of the year 2216. By then, his new tree trunk chair should also be finished. It's to be formed by pressing a mold into a tree for the next 2 centuries. Maarten Baas also plays with time in his series Real Time. Observers could be fooled into believing someone's hidden inside the clock. In place of hands, a film of Baas is projected onto the clock face from behind. His performance lasted 12 hours.
This is my own self-portrait. As you can see, I'm even dressed similarly. So every new minute, he wipes away the hand of the clock and he makes a new one. Now he's eating, and well, of course he has to spend his day properly. So he eats and he drinks and he cleans the window every now and then.
The exhibition even shows how Maarten Baas envisions his future, though visitors shouldn't take him too seriously.
Well, now we're headed up to Denmark, which is a relatively small, very happy country just north of Germany. And you've got to love the Danes because they do have a marvelous knack of cultivating individual strengths in their people, as well as a strong sense of community. Well, a recent TV advert celebrating diversity there was an open challenge to prejudice, and it quickly went viral, both at home and abroad.
It's easy to put people in boxes. There's us, and there's them. The high earners, and those just getting by.
This video has already thrilled millions. It shows 77 people from all walks of life gathering in a TV studio. Everyone from senior citizens to CEOs, farmers to young people.
Never seen a cow.
But when the host starts asking personal questions, they start to look at one another differently.
Jeg kommer til at stille jer nogle spørgsmål I dag. Nogle af dem kan godt være lidt personlige, men jeg håber I vil svare ærligt på dem. Hvem herinde I rummet var klassens klovn?
Laulausen was one of those who stepped forward when that question was asked. He's the owner of a big cleaning company.
Yeah, it's a bit awkward to be in a room with, I mean, you have been in a room with other kind of people before, but there's no doubt that this was very different. You know, you spend a lot of time in the beginning really looking at how is he like, how is she like. And there was definitely some that you were looking at, and I don't think I have anything in common with that guy or girl.
The video's message is that we should focus on our similarities, not our differences. For the participants, it proved to be a moving experience.
Hvem bonusforældre?
I noticed who else went up, and I noticed one person that I have been looking at. I don't think that I have anything in common with that guy, but actually we had this thing in common. Being a step-parent gives some challenges that probably is exactly the same for all of us, no matter where we come from, how we look, how we dress.
The short film is an ad for Denmark's TV2 channel. Initially produced only in Danish, the broadcaster released an English version so viewers could share it with friends worldwide. The clip went viral after a Canadian blogger posted it on his Facebook page. Fans translated it into other languages. After just 3 weeks, the video had racked up over 200 million views. Originally, the public broadcaster had only hoped to reach Denmark's population of 5.7 million.
It's the first time that TV2 is doing a branding campaign as such, where we're not speaking about one specific program. This is more the overall view of the channel, yes. But to see how it spread all over the world very fast, that was really surprising.
The short film promotes a sense of community and has touched people around the world at a time in which nationalism and discrimination are on the rise.
We have employees from 10, 12 different countries in this company. So we meet this every day. Then we have a big responsibility to make our employees from all these cultures and countries feel comfortable and maybe do a little more about explaining to them that we have something in common.
We who feel lonely. We who are bisexual. And we who acknowledge the courage of others.
In the studio, complete strangers formed a community that showed respect for one another. The video's global success shows we shouldn't let prejudices get in our way.
So maybe there's more that brings us together than we think.
And from Denmark, it's not far to the Swedish capital, Stockholm. Nina Salo and her husband lived for many years in a small downtown apartment there. But when the kids came along, well, they needed more space. And as they both like city life, moving out of town to a more affordable location wasn't really an option. And so instead, they just extended their existing home. Well, the result is cozy, but with a killer downtown location.
Hello and welcome to my apartment.
This balcony leads directly into the living room of Nina Salo's apartment. It's located in Stockholm's historic center. The room's central feature is a fireplace.
I just love fires, so it's always been one of my dreams to have a fireplace. It's really one of those homey and cozy things that you get from a fireplace.
The living room is located on the apartment's second floor. It also serves as Nina's home office. She's a TV producer. The bathroom is down the hall. This is the children's room. There's lots of natural light here. The children share a room because the whole apartment has just 90 square meters of living space.
For the time being, they have to share. And most of the time, they're not even in the room, to be honest. It will be a problem. But at their age right now, it's not a problem, the way I see it. They disagree with me, but they have to live with it at the moment.
The parents' bedroom is actually part of the living room area. Here, too, there's plenty of natural light. On the other hand, there's no door.
The biggest issue is really not the kids, but it's more the problem when my husband is watching television or films late at night. Then we fixed it by getting headphones.
This stairway leads to the lower floor. Nina and her husband used to live in this part of the apartment all by themselves. But 45 square meters wasn't enough for a growing family. So they expanded into the loft apartment that was one floor up.
One of the main issues when we built this was storage. So we were trying to be creative and find storage somewhere. And one of the things is that we used to have the bed in here behind us. And since we didn't need that anymore, we turned it into a storage with those big doors to hide everything we have in there.
Here's the open kitchen. The family gathers here often, and in fact, they have no intention of moving to a larger apartment. Real estate prices in Stockholm are high, so they'd have to move out of the center, and they don't want to do that.
We like to be city slickers. If we would like to go somewhere, it would be completely somewhere else, like to the countryside.
But for the time being, they'll stay right here in central Stockholm.
And we'll finish the program just as we started, in the snow, except that this time we've also thrown in a little ice for some extra challenge, because in the Val Gardena in Italy's Dolomite Mountains, scores of frozen waterfalls make it a paradise for ice climbers. So just add some sublime Italian food and wine at an altitude of 2,000 meters and you've got yourself a real once-in-a-lifetime experience.
Breathtaking vistas and endless slopes, the Dolomites in South Tyrol are a winter sports haven that can only be described with superlatives. In a matter of minutes, a lift takes you from Grödnetal, also known as Val Gardena, to the pistes nestling between the 3,000-meter-high rocky peaks of Langkofel and the Sella Group.
We have one of the most, if not the most, beautiful ski areas in the world. With all these slopes, you can do more than just traditional skiing. You can go cross-country skiing, tobogganing and ice climbing, anything winter has to offer.
Europe's largest ski area, Dolomites Superski, is connected by around 1,200 kilometers of slopes at all levels of difficulty. No wonder it attracts tourists from all over the world.
The slopes are all linked and the descents are long. That's fun.
Look at the scenery. That's why we come here.
It's great. The food is good.
Another winter sport that's gaining popularity, ice climbing on the many frozen waterfalls, like here at Tervella Waterfall in Grödnetal. On the other side of the valley, mountain guide Hubert Moroder is taking 2 tourists to climb Pilon, a 40-meter high frozen waterfall. It's thoroughly frozen this year and so safe to climb. Hubert shows them how it's done.
Put your foot in the middle, climb a bit higher and then right, back to the middle, then a bit to the left, then right. The ice pick always stays in the middle.
Before the beginners get going, Hubert climbs up and attaches the safety rope to special hooks.
You start by scratching the surface until it properly bites.
Up to 4 people can be attached to the rope. This is crucial. Most beginners lose their grip on the ice during the first few attempts. The guide clears away loose ice to make it safer. Manuela Simbola from Rome already has ice climbing experience. But it's the first time for local Verena Kostner. After 15 minutes, they stop to catch their breath.
You have to look for the right spot and test where the ice will hold you.
At first, I was afraid the ice would break. I've never done anything like this before. But it holds, it's quite hard.
Even for experienced mountain climbers, ice climbing is a very different experience. You have to drive the ice picks and crampons hard into the brittle ice. The exercise quickly warms you up despite the cold. Hubert Moroder takes lots of small groups out all over the Dolomites.
The good thing is, you don't leave any traces behind. It always freezes differently. It's never the same as it was last year. You always discover new waterfalls, ones that perhaps weren't frozen before but are frozen again this year. It's great.
There are numerous mountain chalets to take a breather between climbs. In winter, you can only reach them on skis or by cable car. Some people come here especially for the food. Sophie is a restaurant on Seceda at an elevation of 2,400 meters. The gourmet cuisine with Italian flair is a hit with tourists. The manager, Marcus Prinot, serves traditional regional food alongside his own creations.
We try to use local produce and some of it's organic. We also serve Mediterranean cuisine and other international food. We make sure the basic ingredients are as pure as possible to keep the original flavor.
You can also climb the ice falls farther up the Dolomite cliffs, but it's a long way up. Ice climbing is enjoying a boom here in northern Italy. Many falls remain frozen for months. A trial course is around €125 and you can rent the necessary equipment. Just half a day will give you a really good taste of this modern winter sport.
What part of Europe would you most like to see? Every week, our Euromaxx Extra Tour series takes you to a region or tourist attraction of your choice in Europe. Write in and tell us where you want to go and why. Don't forget your photo. Then we'll take an extra tour on your behalf and show your picture in our program. Write to us at DW Euromaxx, Wolterstrasse 6, 13355 Berlin, Germany. Or send a fax to 49 for Germany, 30 for Berlin, 4646 6505. Or an email to euromax.english@dw.com. We're looking forward to hearing from you.
And that brings us to the end of this edition of our highlights. So thanks for watching, and until we meet again, alles Gute aus Berlin und auf Wiedersehen.